Good morning. We are making coffee. Now I've already made coffee to fill this up. And now we're going to fill this up and then we'll have a discussion. It's the problem with having an itty bitty coffee maker. That's fine. I usually don't do more than the big cup, but you know what? Why not, right? So how many people in here? 4, 5. We'll get some, I appreciate every single person in here. There it is. Udit. No. Double watching. Great Freight Sage Logic. I appreciate the phone call you gave me. I've been meaning to call you back. The advice you gave about the $10,000 truck was spot on, and I really appreciate that. That kind of helped the clarity, you know? The clarity. Let's get a hat on. You guys don't need to see my ugly head. You know, you gotta love carriers that give you hats. This is a guy that's a buddy of mine, lives in Missouri, owns a small carrier, and he offered me a position before, well, right around the time that Jeff did, when I was still at Schneider, and went to Jeff instead because, you know, Green Miles is predominantly a reefer company, but if you have your own dry van, you can go over there. But he's helped me quite a bit with a few things. He's a pretty smart guy. You know, he's like Jeff, an entrepreneur. He's got a good carrier over there. So, but he gave me a hat at Matt's. I don't even have a hat for like trucking. Can you believe that? Yeah. Anyways, had a good conversation with Jeff yesterday or last night. We were talking about the upcoming drivers and making stickers for trailers and all that kind of stuff. So let's do some shout outs. We got Big Houston DIY Semi. Big Houston, you going north yet? Great Freight Sage Logic. I love that name, by the way. Provost Motorsports. Caveman. Are you really going live at 6 a.m. Truckers Table? Yes, I am. Big Papa. Ratman Roden. What's up? Good Life City Trucker. Good morning. Rock On. Hey, speaking of Rock On, I've been enjoying a couple of bands here. You guys are like, Steve, I don't care about your stupid music. There's a band called God Rhythm, and it's kind of a doomy kind of thing. I love it. It's very, there's a song called The Sea Is My Grave. The Sea As My Grave. It's pretty good. But, so what's the title mean? Ramping it up. What's that mean? Well, I'll show you guys what it means. This is where I slept last night. Up on the hill. You can see it. Not with the reflection. Not with that stupid mirror. You guys think that this mirror is kind of pointless on the 680s? That's a Love's in Waco, Georgia. And I thought I was going to have to get fuel at a Pilot, which is bad because I don't get a discount there. And then I saw that there's this Love's. Now, I don't run this area a whole lot, so I didn't realize that when you pull in this Love's, it is the biggest little cluster F that you ever did see. It's Yeah, took about 20 minutes to fuel. And so, remembering the last time I came through this area going westbound, I realized that there ain't no parking options between here and Birmingham. And then once you get to Birmingham, it would have been about 10 o'clock, and I didn't want to, good luck finding parking at that time. So the good thing about some Georgia and most Alabama is that you have a good chance that you can park on the ramps. There's plenty of room. There's no parking signs. It's dark. Now that dark can be, may not be the safest option. Someone told me in Europe, in Poland, that if you park on a ramp, you're really taking a risk, because I guess the Polish mafia likes to rob the trucks. And a ramp makes a good opportunity. And you got to think about that. When you park on a ramp, and you're all by yourself, first of all, turn your parking lights on. If you don't idle your truck, still turn your parking lights on. That way you can be seen. And, but also you do run the risk of, some more opportunity for someone to come in and do bad stuff. So, do what you can to protect yourself. Important. But that's what ramping it up. It's kind of clickbaity, isn't it? Isn't that how YouTube's done now, though? I watched a video where someone was like, I'm going to show you how to, and it's literally one sentence that the person had to say, but he made a 5-minute buildup. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do this, and here it is. Here's the big thing. Here's over and over, to the point that I'm about ready to push the go to hell button. And then he says the sentence is like, is that it? You just turned one sentence into a 5-minute video? Good on you. See, here's the thing about YouTube now. It's about how you manipulate the analytics. It's not about your content. I mean, a little bit it's about your content, but it's not as much as how you market it. Because how many of you YouTubers put this big, huge effort into a vlog or into a subject, and it gets like 3 views, and then somebody who has worse equipment, worse editing skills, and worse presentation as far as like the video itself, it's got like 3,000 views. Truck wash videos come to mind. But the way they titled it works, right? The way they titled it, the way they built it up, the way they promoted the social media way. Because think about it, YouTube has turned into, from a platform of creativity and instruction, to a form of social media. I mean, you got the reels and the shorts that like very similar to TikTok and Facebook, and you do community posts. You can do, sometimes in the live chat, the only difference between a YouTube video live chat and Facebook post is that you can't post GIFs and pictures and argue your point with other things other than just your text. And that's the other aspect of social media. Everybody wants to argue. Everybody wants to tell you how to do your business or judge you for how you do your business. But, that's easily expected because we go to Facebook, I can't tell you how many times in the new owner-operators page, someone comes in saying, should I be an LLC or an S-Corp or da-da-da? It's like, dude, you're going to get 1,000 different opinions from people who have 1,000 different methods of how they run their business and their lives. You can't take their advice. So I always reply with the same thing. Ask an accountant. Because they can truly see your numbers and see what's best for you. It depends on your profit, depends on your structure, it depends on your family, it depends on your deductions, it depends on your everything. You can make $100,000 in a year and not show any profit. Then, and then you sit there and wonder why you can't find a bank loan. You know, even with the 800 credit score. Thumbnails drive views as well. Yes, Ratman, you are correct. You know, I guess it's if you get a hot girlfriend or a hot wife, put her in the picture a lot. That in the thumbnail, that'll do it. You know, that catches the attention of the pervy guys, and even the non-pervy guys. So Dennis Richardville, good morning. Clickbait is how life is done now. It is. It is logic. It is. It's about the analytics, and I highly encourage, and I've said this over and over and over like a broken record, but I highly encourage for everybody to watch the Netflix show, The Social Dilemma. I really do. It's kind of how life is now. I'm going to Birmingham today to deliver. Oh, okay. Well, you might pass me. One of your Facebook friends who drives a blue Volvo went right past you last night. Did he? Well, dang. Didn't even say hi. Oh, boy. OTJB is sleeping on you. If you're around Thursday evening, let's grab some tacos. Okay. Ratman, I'm delivering a Neosho on Thursday, and somebody underbid me on my load. That was going to be a fill-in for Thursday, because I plan on staying out this weekend if I can. It's supposed to get cold. It's supposed to get down to 4 degrees in Missouri. So you're picking a perfect day to oh, he's stepping on me, so he went live. Okay. Calculating fuel surcharge. Well, good on him. That's all right. But yeah, Ratman, that would be great. Holler at me on the phone, but it's supposed to get cold this weekend, so you better hightail it if you don't want to experience 4 degrees. It's supposed to get down to 4 or 5 degrees on Sunday. Let's move to the other section of the truck, shall we? Reverse camera. Give me a second, guys. Turn off the APU. I've had to really watch the APU. The way the carriers are, they got these big, huge handles. How you take the access panels off. Best blocked you. Oops, I'm sorry. Actually, I thought I saw it was Johnny Sacco that blocked me, or at least timed you out. But Terry never takes me for tacos. Should I take the hint? No. I don't know. I guess, you know, if you guys want to go over and watch James Best, yeah, that's fine. Is it a live feed or a premiere? Let's see here. Let's see what's going on over there. Nope, he's live. I think. Yeah, he's live. Oh. Look, if I had to wait for all the times that James isn't live to go live, I would never go live. I mean, I knew that going live this morning, the odds are that I was not going to, that more likely we were going to step on each other. But I guess, right. But no, every now and then you got to sleep on a ramp. So last night I get fuel and Yeah, it was a cluster at the Loves in Waco, Georgia, exit 4, 4 or 1, I can't remember. Anyways, I'm right here at the state line, I-20, and I think I've got a full clock now, so I really need to get rolling. But I thought I'd just say good morning. You know, we got our coffee, and I'm going to finish this because there's no lid, right? And then we'll get rolling. So I just put out a video at 6 a.m. also. Yeah, I was Sage. I sent your video to my wife about not the last one you did, but the one before that, where you're using YouTube truckers as an example of what happened in the stock market, which I thought was it's funny. But the last 5 minutes of that video is, look, I'm not a stock market guy, I'm not a trading guy, and only because I don't understand it. I mean, I probably do have some extra cash flow to invest a little bit. In fact, when Jeff called me last night, we talked about that a little bit, but what you said was spot on. From an outsider looking in, I kind of saw the same thing, and I'm not even. And I guess that's the beauty of being separated from something, is that you can kind of give a bird's eye view of something, and it's easier for you to see the bigger picture, to see what the manipulation is, and to me, it leaves the door open to attack capitalism. So. I'm on the Provost plan. Get up early, stop early, get a prime parking spot. Trucker's Table. That's what I usually do. But I had that 1 a.m. delivery, and I was able to finagle things to where my 10-hour break was done at 10 a.m. And I booked the load. That's Eastern, so that's 9 a.m. to me. And I booked a decent load. So if you add this load with the last load, so basically Missouri to Arkansas to Florida to back to Missouri, we're still north of $2 a mile, so that's pretty good. And much needed revenue and much needed workout for the truck to really burn this DPF, because doing these short runs, there's a lot more idling, and it doesn't really give the truck a chance to really kind of clean stuff out. And trucks really need their coolant cleanse for their DPF. So we took not one but two heavy boxes to back and forth. Now here's something. Okay, so here's something interesting. You 11 people that like me better than James Best. Yesterday, I'm going to turn right off of DeRoche Parkway. I think that's what it's called. And it's the only entrance to this warehouse system that I was going to. And we're backed up for miles, right? And at the intersection was a cop car and a fire engine. So I figured it's just an accident, right? So I emailed the broker and tell him, hey, I'm half a mile away, but they've got the entrance blocked off and all that. So finally we get able to turn after about 20 minutes, and on the CB, I hear somebody went postal, and over to the right in one of the warehouses, you saw a bunch of people, like fire drill. You guys remember fire drills in school, where you had to get outside and you had to congregate and all that? Well, that's what was going on. But they said it was I don't know if it was an active shooter situation or somebody went postal or what. I don't know if it was as serious as you might think, because there wasn't like a SWAT team or anything there. But it made for an interesting story. But yeah, that was the rumor on the CB, that it was someone going postal, and luckily it wasn't the warehouse where I needed to pick up. That would have made for a long day. So I've got an overweight ticket yesterday in Florida for $57. I was $11.40 over gross. Dang, Big Houston. I leave you for 5 minutes and you get in trouble, I swear. Do you want me to wait for you on your way to Birmingham so I can watch over you there, John? Just kidding. Moonflea, good morning. It's about time you got to work. Moonflea, I took your advice and took a ramp. That's what the video is about. I don't have a full clock yet. I've got 20 more minutes before I got a full 10. So here's a question for you YouTubers, YouTube fans that like me better than James Best. Are you guys utilizing that new 7.3 split? You guys utilizing that? I've utilized it once so far. I was moving empty Amazon trailers 14 miles for $260. Did 3 of them. Nice. Scott, what's up? Nice. Where be? Waco, Georgia. Waco, Georgia. You know that Loves there, Moonflea? This is your territory. These are your peeps, right? That Loves in Waco, Georgia is like absolutely horrendous. Yep, love the 7.3. I just did it this morning, 7.5, 2.5 split. Now they're talking about doing a 5.6, 6.5 kind of thing. And so what they're eventually going to do is come around full circle to the old regulations. Because here's what. Number one, with stricter hours of service regulations, you have less capacity. So you're able to get some good rates because, you know, especially if you're a husband-wife team, logbook doesn't matter to you guys at that point. Hey, you need something done in 800 miles in one day? We can do that. But coming from a company that was really good with paper, I was trained good with paper, that had to go to e-logs, the amount of revenue that dropped for drivers and the company, I knew that was going to happen on a national-wide scale when they forced e-logs on everybody. I mean, there were people that literally waited to the last minute. You know, it's like the mandate is on this date, and they literally pushed the button the day before. Which, you know, I warn people not to do that because you have to get used to e-logs. But all these new additions that they're trying to do has way more flexibility than back in my day when I first started e-logs, you know. And the flexibility is nice. It really is. Say that 5 times fast. I just did. I just did it this morning. I do. Trucker's table, yes. Moonflea, up. Oh, we're talking about the split. Morning, Mr. Pablo. Big Rig CEO, he's a funny guy. I went hunting with him. And I use that in quotation because all I did was do some target practice and miss a lot. But anyways, he got a friend of ours, his grandson, to call me Pablo. That's where that joke comes from. So, but the flexibility is nice. And what the world is realizing is that, well, the electronic logs, man, that kind of makes it hard for me to ship at the last minute and not have to pay a premium rate. So if you notice that most of the time when you're getting a premium rate, if you're booking your own stuff, that is, you are under the gun. And so when you hit a Loves, like in Waco, Georgia, and people are taking their time and it takes 20 minutes to fuel, that becomes a problem. Now, the new regulations on the 30-minute break has been a tremendous, awesome, positive change. Because now, if it takes you 20 minutes to fuel, and then it takes you 10 minutes to, I don't know, go to the bathroom, whatever, you got your 30-minute break. And yesterday I was on a situation where my 14 had literally 45 minutes past my 8-hour clock. So what I'm going to do, take a 30-minute break for 15 minutes. So that's why I parked on this ramp. So I drove 730 miles in 10.5 hours yesterday. Wow. Triple T is the king of the 8-2 split, right? And the 7-3. You know, I have to admit, man, Trucker's Table, he's a hustler. You know, you watch him on Life 360, and he's constantly doing like 80 miles an hour. No, not 80. He's doing 70. He's doing the speed limit everywhere. And he gets it done, you know. So he's making it work at Landstar. I commend him for that. And then the other aspect is the other thing I've noticed on the Facebooks is people ask questions in these groups, and then they hate the answers. Then they argue with you. Somebody was talking about blowing out their trailer, and I said, yeah, that's the best way to do it, you know, with a leaf blower. And then he goes, I've had plants kick me out for doing that. I'm like, well, then why'd you bring it up? Here's an idea. Don't blow out the trailer at the facility to get you kicked out. You know, and then there's another person that it's Schneider. Now, if those of you don't know, Landstar, you guys deal with this too. At Schneider, they want you to buy a kingpin lock for security reasons, because if you ever have to leave that trailer, you know, they want you to lock it, which, you know, obviously in Landstar, they went this whole spiel about, they had like a bunch of trailers broken into over Thanksgiving one year that had TVs and stuff like that, and trailers were literally getting stolen off the drop lots and stuff like that. But so I bought a Warlock from Landstar, and it came with a Kingman lock, and it came with the air valve locks that go inside your truck. I still got that. And so one of the Schneider ICs was on Facebook complaining about the fact that, well, if we can't PC, why does Schneider need us to buy these kingpin locks? So in short terms, I explain that a kingpin lock has nothing to do with your ability to legally or not legally move under PC. Because you never know when your truck's going to be in the shop. You never know. I mean, at Schneider, let's say that you want to go to the Walmart. Well, yeah, Schneider doesn't want you using PC to do that, but you can still do it. You can still unhook from the trailer and do that. And it was just kind of a, there's a lot of people that are business owners that don't have the mentality. They still have the mentality of a company driver. Well, I can't believe they're forcing me to do this. I can't believe they're forcing me to do that. If you don't want people to force you to do things under their authority, then you get your own. That's it. You know, and even then, the government's still going to force you to do things a certain way. That's how it works. That's the world we live in. So it was just kind of interesting that this guy's complaining about buying a $150 lock that adds securement, and that Schneider protecting their investments, i.e. the trailer, i.e. the load, i.e. the cargo claim. And this guy is upset because he can't personal convey, so he kind of tied the two together. And that's a mentality that will put you out of business. That's a mentality that will make life a lot harder for you. That kind of struggle you can't really kind of get over. Can't do a 730 at Amazon. They work you too hard for the entire 14. Yep. Quick hit. Good morning. So the way I do the 8.2 is I usually use it on the 8 side to get me out of a situation where I can still make the delivery on time. When you start, I found that when you start trying to plan each load that way, it gets really confusing, really kind of, it gets sketchy, and eventually it'll bite you in the butt. That's why Schneider doesn't let you do it, because they don't want you to have a service failure because you didn't do the math right. So it's all in the wording and explanation of why you're PCing. I agree, Trucker Stable, but the problem with Schneider is they don't want you doing it unless you are completely don't have a load and you don't have a trailer. And that comes from the old school PC that didn't let you do that with the trailer. So they did some clarifications on personal conveyance. And one of the most common mistakes that people make is they do personal conveyance to the shop. Can't do that. You can personal convey to a store, but the best way to do personal conveyance is you got to go back to the origin of where you started. So let's say you're delivering at Target. We all know if you delivered at Target how awesome it is to deliver there. And so you can drop your trailer. Let's say you want to go to Walmart. You PC over to Walmart, and then you PC back. And when your logs are brought up and it's shown on the map and on the paper, or paper, virtual paper, that's legitimately what it looks like and what it is. There's some bright headlights out here. And that's usually the best way to PC. The other best way to PC is if you are kicked out of a shipper or receiver and you got to go find a safe haven. That also shows that. Now you have people that will PC 200, 300 or more miles home from their last stop because they're going home for the whole week. The problem with that is, let's say I deliver in Joplin, Missouri, and then I deadhead home under PC back to Springfield. That's about 80 miles. Well, and then I go home for a week. No big deal, right? But let's say once I get home, there's this insane, crazy rate load that picks up the next day in Springfield. Well, guess what? Now it looks like I PC'd to progress to advance my position. Now, I can kind of prove that that was not the case if I'm off for a week, but let's say I do that load. So I use PC sparingly, only when I need to, because the less times that you see that on the logbook, the less red flags it raises for the officer to take a closer look at your situation, or a lawyer if you happen to be in a negative situation. Going to the store for food and water. There you go. So that's my safety guy lesson today. And those of you who don't know, you non-Schneider people, Schneider's got stricter rules than the hours of service than the government, and that's their prerogative. That's again, if you don't want any rules or hardly any rules from the carrier, you got to become your own carrier. So I got popped for PCing home a couple of years ago. Now I was off for 5 days. The old PC allowed that, not anymore. Provo says I never use PC. Look, the only time I really use it is a situation where the shipper won't let me spend the night and I got to go find the truck stop. That's pretty much it. When you're in the when you're in a self-dispatch, I almost said spot market, but this works for Schneider and Landstar guys too. If you're in a self-dispatch situation and you're making percentage, in my experience, I have not really flirted with that 70 a whole lot. I mean, you know, yeah, there are a lot of drivers that work harder than me and that hit that 70 all the time. But when you can make your money at 2,200 miles a week, you know, you can spare the extra hour. You can spare the extra time to go to the store. Now, I tend to use the same routes, so I tend to use the same stores. But, you know, Provost brings up a good point. You know, very rarely am I brushing against the 70. Now, I was making a joke with one of our drivers yesterday that man, I might, you know, take a load to, you know, a couple of different places for the weekend. And I'm like, man, and I joke, I said, man, I got to worry about that 70 thing. Gosh, that's weird, you know, because it is. I don't like doing restarts on the road, or resets on the road, and so I try not to do it. You know, I can always go home under a load. I go home under a load a lot, because of the nature of where my location is. Now, that being said, there's supposed to be another winter storm in my normal running areas again, so we'll probably stay south a minute. So, but anyways, I appreciate everybody. We've got about 8 more minutes before I need to start my pre-trip. So if you guys got any comments, questions, concerns, you know, bring them on. I burned my 70 in 6 days. Yeah, you run pretty hard, but again, you try to be home for your restart too. You're not restarting on the road that much, are you? A lot of times I try to run about 9 hours a day. You never run out of your 70 that way. But, you know, this particular load here has to be a 600-mile day. You know, it's been a minute since I've had to run like that. And it's not because I have to. It's because the way these two loads are, you know, this load here, first come, first serve on both ends. So that means that sounded weird. That means that I'm still under a little bit of a time crunch because, you know, obviously I want to deliver Thursday as early as possible, with the least amount on my clock as possible, because then, you know, it leaves me room for another load. And, you know, what I was hoping for was a shorty on Thursday, and then Friday get rolling for another weekend thing. Pale Rider yelled at us for no video or live stream. Last 2 weekends you've done a 34 on the road. Oh, okay. I know that's tougher to do when you when it's in the winter time. You know, your APU's constantly running, stay warm, or you're idling if you don't have an APU. You know, 34-hour idles, that's really good on the emission system. So I'm running on recap hours till I get home. Well, hopefully you'll get home soon. I think there's supposed to be another storm in your area there, Mr. Houston. So hopefully you... I got friends that were stuck up there in the Northeast, stranded. So, and I saw that Weather Nation was putting out that the weather was going to get rough again. There's another... Canada is blowing cold air on us again. So, I mean, think about it. It was 37 when I parked here last night in Georgia. There was a wind chill of 25 when I was in Florida, so it's definitely a cold month so far in February. But it's February, so what are you know? unless you're in Laredo or Miami, you know, you're going to be cold, or Phoenix. So, I even thought about going back out to Arizona, but best way to get out to Arizona is the southern route. So you got to drop down to Dallas, you know, from Missouri, drop down to Dallas, and then cut across 20 to 10 to, you know, to Phoenix. It adds, I think, about 100 miles to the trip, but you don't have to go through the wicked ice and snowstorms that might plague, you know, New Mexico and Arizona, northern Arizona. So, when did Pale Rider yell at us, Provost? Was that on Zello, or, you know, I mean, kind of giving him crap because, you know, he talked about backing in the spot, but he didn't show it. I know he's got camera mounts all over that truck. I know, Big Houston, you experienced it too. Provost blamed me for the cold weather in Florida. This is also the time of year where you should be warming up your truck. I recommend about 10-15 minutes. Get that DEF fluid recirculating, because there's heaters in that DEF pump, and you don't want your truck trying to regen in the cold. That's not good. So I always recommend, you know, good operating temperature before you start out. Made a comment on my video. Okay. Provost, I'm behind on your video. I meant to talk to you yesterday about your issue with the DOT, something about your stickers or something. We never got there. I got to hang out with Provost yesterday, or day before yesterday, I guess. I love that truck, man. That truck is, I like that truck a lot. We're sitting at his table like we're at a booth at the restaurant, man. It's just like we're just hanging out, watching Provost eat fried chicken. It was good, you know, sitting there with the TV on, and truck was nice and warm because he was idling, and you could barely tell the truck's idling. It was good. It was good. So, but anyways, we are at 1 more minute before this thing says I've got 14 hours to kill time. So, and go over there and yell at James Best for stepping on me, and you know, make sure all of you that are watching him going down the road, make sure you type in the comments that you are driving and listening, so it proves that you're texting while driving. Make sure you do that. Not. And yeah, so anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Good morning, Jody. And I hope that you are happy, content, and in good health. Peace.